Welcome to A Woman's Heart. I am very excited today. We have Lynette Eason with us, continuing our summer reading series. And thanks so much for joining us today, Lynette.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
You are very welcome. And as I mentioned before, I have finished one of your books and I'm in the middle of it and I'm just on pins and needles because I can't wait to finish it. It's been hard to put down and hard to get any other work done once I get started on one of your books. So we're going to look forward to
Thank
talking
you.
about this. You're welcome. I know authors. I have a friend of mine who's an author and she's like, oh, good. If I've disrupted your life, I've done my job well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, indeed. Well, before we get going on that, I always like to have a chance to get to know my guests a little bit more and let my audience know them a little bit. So please tell us a little bit about yourself and something fun that isn't normally in your bio.
Well, I do this full time. This is my full time job, being an author, and which is always fun. I'm married to my husband Jack, who we've been married. I guess it'll be 29 years coming up in December.
Wow,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Well, thank you. We have two children. Our daughter lives in Virginia Beach, and
Oh, she's just down
yeah.
the road from me.
Yeah, she works for Regent. She graduated from Regent Law School and works for the school.
Very
And then,
good.
yeah, and our son lives here, and he's a business major, and he works with my husband. So they take up a lot of my time, and not a lot, not as much as they used to. And so anyway, but and yeah, and so that's yeah, I'm mom, wife, and writer. Pretty much sums up my life.
That'll keep you busy. Mom and wife and regular can definitely keep you busy, and definitely with the complex, fast-paced books that you write, I can only imagine how quickly your brain is just spinning with all of these.
All the
Because
time. I
yes.
cannot shut it off. I need an off switch for real.
Oh my goodness. Well, and what got you into romantic suspense?
Well, I grew up seeing my mom with a book in her hand all the time, and she loved mysteries. And I grew up watching, all those 80s shows, Simon and Simon and Magnum PI, and
Yes, yes.
we were at the library at least twice a week. So, um, and I got into the Nancy Drew Hardy Boys, and I
Mhm.
just loved the mysteries. I loved that the good guys won in the end, and I just when I decided to start writing, that's kind of what I wanted to write. And as I got older, obviously, I read older age appropriate books,
Mhm.
and I love the romance part of it, and the mystery, and I just loved it. And I didn't necessarily like the spicier books. I was like, there's got to be books that don't have this stuff in it,
Uh,
and
yeah.
yeah, and so I started. I ended up finding a genetic book and reading it, and I was
Oh.
like, oh, that's cool. I like that, but I would like to have some dead bodies. I would like some mystery, some murder, and
Well, yeah, have a couple of
I
these
want the
puppies
stuff
in
that you can
these.
kill somebody. Yeah. And so I ended up finding a D. Henderson book, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. This is what I want to write. So yeah, so that's how I got into it.
Yay, that is wonderful. Well, and you have written quite a few. I think you have over 60 to your credit now. So congratulations. Hats off.
Thank you. Thank you.
That
Thank
that is
you.
a huge, huge accomplishment. And the series that I have been reading is the Lake City Heroes book.
Yeah.
And you really focused on this one that's kind of a community of law enforcement, first responders, and all of that. What drew
Mm.
you to to go in that direction?
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. I just really like that. I love the investigative side of crime. I guess I probably should have gone into criminal justice or something, but yeah, I don't want to deal with it in real life. I'm
I
great
was
with
going to say it
making it
might be
up.
safer
As
to
long
just
as
write
I'm
about
in control. If it, yeah, I want to be in control. I don't. I don't want to. Yeah, but anyway, so I just have a real respect for people that can. do an investigation into something like a murder or whatever and follow the clues. And honestly, most criminals are not as smart as the ones that we put in the books. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I just really like that whole getting justice for the victim and
Yeah.
helping people and having that heart and that compassion and that desire to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and a lot of your characters, they do. Even though they are in the law enforcement and investigating, I really did appreciate that they weren't all that whole good cop, bad cop and being all roughing up everybody. And they actually did kind of, they could be tough when they needed to be, but they could
Mm-hmm.
also be compassionate and understand that sometimes people just make really bad decisions because they're backed into a corner. And it's sad and it's difficult, but it's not that every single person that has committed a crime is this terrible, awful, evil person
No, of
that there's
course not.
stories
Yeah.
behind that, and I definitely appreciated that. It's coming across more because I'm right in the middle of Final Approach, which actually is you're going to be wrapping up the Lake City Heroes. So I
Yeah.
would love for you. You can briefly touch on the first couple of books, like the first one, what they're about, the second one, then we can talk a little bit more about Serial Burn and Final Approach.
So book one was Double Take, and it came out in January of last year. But we went on a book tour.
Yes, we did.
That's we started in South Carolina and went all the way out to I think the farthest we went was Dallas, Texas. And so
For
you
Peace
know,
from South Carolina.
yeah, we made a loop. So I started in South Carolina out to Dallas and back around this way and came.
Okay.
And so we're gone about 3 weeks promoting that. And yeah, it seems to be a favorite, like one of the favorites in the series. Everybody loved book one. And it was I opened that series with James and Lainey, and he wound up in her ER as the PA physician's assistant at the local hospital in the fictional town of Lake City, North
Hmm.
Carolina. And then they had quite the adventure of figuring out who wanted her dead and if her ex was still alive or not. So, um,
Hey, yes, that sounds very suspenseful. And after
yeah.
meeting them throughout the other two books, I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna have to go back and read their story.
People have been calling it more of a psychological thriller than anything else, so that was kind of interesting and
Okay.
a lot of fun. Yeah, and then book two follows Cole, who was James's partner in book one,
Hmm.
Cole and Kinsey with the SWAT team in Lake City, and so that was I had a lot of fun researching that one. So yeah, I had lots of conversations with my SWAT contact. So that was fun. Then, of course, Serial Burn was book three,
Hmm.
and followed Jesselyn McCormick and Nathan Carlisle. And his FBI came in to investigate the church burning, which they bring in the FBI because burning a church when it's declared arson is considered a hate crime.
Okay.
And so that's why the FBI got involved. And then book four is Final Approach, the last one in the series with Christine. And so yeah, and she's the air marshal. And I did do a novella with James's sister Stephanie, and that was a novella that was in a collection with Lynn Blackburn and Natalie Walters called Cornered. And
Okay. Yes, I saw
so
that on your website, and I
yeah.
mentioned that we have Lynn is part of the summer reading series as well. I told her, I said, I don't normally gravitate to romantic suspense, but I think I may have to because I think I'm going to need to read some more of yours and hers.
Hey, yeah. So that's the series, and Lake City wraps it up when it comes out in August, and then the new series starts sometime next year. I'm off my publishing schedule because I changed things up with my deadlines a little bit. So
Okay.
for the first time in I don't know, almost 10 years, I guess I won't have a book coming out in January. I do have another novella
Okay.
coming out in February, but yeah.
Well, hopefully you can just enjoy a little bit of the rest, or you can get going on, get really far in the next series.
Well, no, I have another book due March 2nd, so
You'll have
it's all
plenty.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
that
tells
was
me you're
awesome.
not just gonna be sitting around twiddling your thumbs.
No,
No,
no, I do
no.
not know how to do that. Yes.
No. Well, one of my questions was going to be, are you a planner or a pantser? But then I read that you're a professed pantser. And so how does that work? And explain that term because I'm familiar with that term, but not everybody may be familiar with that term. So tell us how being a pantser works.
So, yes, I started my career being a complete and total pantser where you just write by the seat of your pants. You have an
Yep.
idea, you have some characters in your head, and you sit down and you just go with the flow. As you get older, your brain slows down a little bit.
Mhm.
And you find that it doesn't hold as much information as it used to. And so it's harder. It's like, no, wait, where was I going with this? And so I have turned more into a plantser. I'm not necessarily a full blown plotter, but I'm kind of half and half at this point. I have to have kind of a roadmap now, but I still leave enough room for my creativity, my creative pantser part of my brain to still have some room to work there. So,
Well, and one
yeah.
of the authors that I spoke to said they tried to plan it out and plot everything out like a good planner because they figured they didn't normally do that, but they were going to try to plan it because they read that was a good idea. And she said they plotted the whole book out and then they were like, "Well, now I know everything that's going to happen. I don't want to do it."
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
That's an
so
answer for you.
there
It
you
sounds like
go. And
something
so
Colleen Coble would say.
so well, we may have to do that. Well, as we mentioned, the final approach is going to be the last one in the Lake City Heroes series, and it is. I tell you, I am unfortunate I didn't get it finished, but maybe it's just as well because then I'm still just sitting on pins and needles, and I can't wait to finish it up because there's so many different pieces and parts to that. And how, well, you mentioned that you kind of plot a little bit now to keep it all straight, but how do you kind of fit all of those pieces? And then you have that faith element in there because I also want to ask you how your faith plays into how you're writing and how he works through writing these books.
Well, so first of all, as far as all of the details and the characters and everything that go into it, now and that for some reason I really do just kind of keep those in my head. I can keep
Okay.
the characters straight pretty much for the most part. I mean, I use a writing software called Scrivener,
Hmm.
and it allows me to, have a list of my characters and pictures and everything. And I find that I refer to it occasionally just to make sure I haven't missed something or forgotten something. But so I kind of keep the characters. Then yeah, it's fine. Sometimes I forget a name. I'm like, wait a minute, who is that person? I have to go look it up. But for the most part, and then what was the other part of the question? See, I have no brain left.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, because it is a Christian fiction.
Well, it's really amazing because I do have the faith element in my stories. It's not an in your face, sitting in a pew preaching kind of thing, but I want my characters to live out their faith like any other Christian lives out their faith. And by that I mean they love Jesus. They want to walk in his will. They are trusting that he knows best. And yet we're still human and we doubt, we have fear, we have anxiety, we're a question whether God knows what he's doing or not. Even though we know he does, it's like, are you sure about this?
Yeah, because this
And
one looks a little
you
sketchy to me.
I just want my characters to come across as real people, real three-dimensional, four-dimensional, whatever you want to call it, people, and so that readers can really connect and identify with what these characters are going through, and just and really feel invested in these characters and worry about them and care about them and wonder if they're going to live through the story or not. Of course, if you've read my stories, you know they will. I well always have a happy ending.
Yes.
So, um, and that faith element is just really important because I honestly don't even know how to write a story without the faith element because God is just he's with me every day. And I talk to him throughout the day. I mean, he's my friend, he's my heavenly father, he's my protector, he's my healer,
Yeah.
and I just want that to come across in my stories. And I want the readers who see these characters living out their Christian faith and their lives with real issues, real flaws. Hopefully now nobody is trying to kill my readers, but they're
Yes.
like,
Let's hope
you know,
their world is
yeah,
not quite as exciting.
yeah. But but they're like, oh wow, okay, so this is how they dealt with their problems, and maybe I can do this too.
Yeah.
And so, I want them to feel the touch of Jesus as they read.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I like it. And there is, like I said, there is the faith element, but it isn't overly
Mm-hmm.
done. It is just them walking through, and I can appreciate that most of us don't have a platform per se. We don't have a
Mm-hmm.
nonfiction or a fiction book out there that we're trying to do and trying to convert people. We're not evangelists or whatever. We are simply Christians trying to walk out our everyday faith in our
Mm-hmm.
everyday lives, whether we are in law enforcement, first responders, radio, podcasting, realtor, real estate, whatever, all of the different jobs that need to be done in the world to make it go around. And I'm always amazed that some people are good at doing some of the jobs that I would never, ever, ever even want to have anything to do with it. So I just thank God for those people.
Hey.
Yes. Yes, and so it really is. It's about that. And I am curious, what are some of the other things that you would love for people to take away when they're reading maybe the Lake City series or some of your other series? Because I have a few things that I've taken away. I'm curious to see what you're hoping we'll take away.
Well, it's really, I want readers to first, I really want them to be entertained. I want them to just fall in love with the stories. I want them to go, oh, wow, this really wasn't what I expected. I really like this, especially if they've never read anything before. And then, if they've read some of my stuff, my books before, they know what to expect. And I want them to say, oh, I really expected this to be this. And it really was good. I'd really try not to write the same story over and over.
Yes, well, I
Um,
can say this one's not predictable. The other one, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I was wondering about that person, but oh my gosh, how did that figure in with
yeah.
the serial burn? And then with Final Approach, I'm going, okay, how is this going to fit into it? There's something there, but I can't put my finger on it, and I still have no idea who's behind all this.
And I love that. I really want the readers to be like, who did this? Wait, there's got to be a twist coming. She always puts a twist in. I mean, some of my readers say that. And so, yeah, and I just want them to take away the feeling that, hey, I invested almost $20 in this book. It was worth it. You
Yes,
know,
yes,
and I never want them to go, well, that's $20 I can't get back. It's like, and 3 hours of my time that I can't get back, or however long
yes.
it took
Oh,
them to read it. I just want them to feel like it's worth reading, and I want them to feel like they maybe are walking away with um, maybe a lesson learned. Maybe, maybe what the character was feeling, my reader is feeling as well, and they walk away with the feeling that, okay, I can deal with this. It's not going to be easy, but I can do this. God is with me, and I can do this. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you walked away with, but those are
well,
just a
that
few of the
touched on
things that
on
I
some
really
of it
want them.
for
Yeah.
me. It's just that when life goes upside down and we're going, wait a minute, this makes no sense. God, really? We thought we had it, but no, and then this isn't making sense. And
Mhm.
but somehow I just got to trust you that you're going to bring it to light, that you're going to keep us safe, keep our loved ones safe. Even though this is really, really scary, we're gonna trust. And I liked some of the other conversations going, okay, God, I know in my head that you have this, but I'm not quite sure how. Uh,
Yeah,
just that
exactly.
element, yeah, of just trusting him even when life is going absolutely sideways in five different directions. But also the other thing that I really appreciated was that community that you have created in these books,
Mhm.
these friends that are there for each other. I mean, they are going to show up for one another and be there. They're going to have each other's backs. All of
Mhm.
they each kind of draw on each other's strengths and it's like, oh, there's a medical person. Well, good thing you have a PA in the group. Somebody's shooting at you. Well, good thing you got the FBI and your SWAT teams that can come in and help you try to draw out the bad guys and
Mm.
save the day and that. But I really appreciated the friendships in there and
No,
relationships that really showed how important it is to have friends and have a community that you can count on, because
absolutely.
going through life all by ourselves is really tough. And I've told people, said, even though you know that God is there with you,
Yeah.
sometimes it's really helpful to have somebody with skin on.
Yes, it is. I say that frequently.
We are the hands and feet of Jesus, because, yes,
Yeah,
he's there with us,
yeah,
but he's not necessarily going to call and order the pizza when we're hungry. So it's nice to have a friend that can actually call and order the pizza, or show up and hold our hand and be there, and be
yeah,
that person with skin on, to be the ears to listen, or the hands to hold, or the shoulder to lean on, and that. So those are some of the things that I took away, and both of those shown through in both of the books. Um,
good.
even
Good.
the
I'm so glad. Thank you.
Yes, yes, you are very, very welcome. Now, on this whole writing journey, are there any things, one of the questions that I've kind of enjoyed asking, is there anything that God has surprised you with, that maybe you expect in this particular series or in your writing journey as a whole, that you maybe expected and God went, no, we're going to teach you something different. Surprise lesson that he's come about through this journey.
Well, one thing that he's really taught me about this journey, it hasn't been, you know, not so much a surprise, but yet a surprise as well. He's given me a glimpse through reader emails of what my stories do and how they impact people. And that has been such a blessing and such an amazing thing and such an encouragement, because writing is it can be very solitary. It doesn't have to be, but it can be a very solitary thing. And I'm just writing away, I'm doing my thing, and then I get an email from a reader who says, you know, thank you so much for writing. Your words really encouraged me. They made me seek to know Jesus deeper. Stuff like that. And I had one reader tell me that my books taught her how to forgive somebody who had hurt her, and I was just like, oh, wow. And for God didn't have to let her send me that email,
Right.
but he did. And I think it's just because he wanted me to give it's almost like a little God kiss,
Yeah.
and a hug and saying, good job, keep up the hard work. I know it's not easy, but you're doing good. You're doing what I called you to do, and I'm proud of you. So, and that's one thing that he's taught me. He is proud of us um, for doing what he's called us to do, even if it's not easy. Sometimes it's very hard to sit down at my laptop and write. Um, and especially these days, and when getting older, my brain's like, not today. but but yeah, so that just really has made it had an impact on me, especially in the last few years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that leads me to ask, how has he helped you to persevere? Because I'm sure there's obstacles or things that you're like, oh my gosh, God, I'm just really tired today, or I'm not feeling it, or whatever else.
Mm.
How has he helped you to persevere and overcome some of those obstacles, mental or, whatever?
One of the things he's done is he's put certain people in my life who have been able to speak into what I do. My husband is so supportive. I couldn't do what I do without him. And my kids are supportive. My parents are my biggest fans. My in-laws. I mean, just he's surrounded me with people who just really invested in me and encouraged me and supported me. And so I think that's another big God hug too.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that, and I try not to take it for granted. But I am very grateful for that I have that. And he's put people in my life. I honestly, nobody in my family really is in law enforcement. I have a cousin who's a state trooper, but I I had people that I met at writers' conferences
Mm.
I know God orchestrated those divine appointments for me to meet with those people in law enforcement so that I could type out an email or send a text and say, whatever, I need this to happen. What's going to happen? How would the FBI investigate this?
Yeah.
And I need to know how to investigate with an explosive device. Oh, hang on, I have a friend in that. I can get that answer for you and then send it to me. And so, yeah, God just did all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, God, as long as you want me to do this, I guess I'll do it.
That's great. That's great. Well, and I have certainly enjoyed that. And I love how you mentioned that God will put people in our path to encourage us and give us what we need at exactly that right moment. And along those lines, one of the things that I always like to ask, because this is a passion of yours, that God has been, pursue or that you've been pursuing and that he's been encouraging and putting people in your path to encourage. So I would like to ask what you would say to encourage someone to pursue the passion God has placed in their heart.
Well, I would say, for one thing, if God has placed that passion in your heart to pursue writing or whatever it is, you're not going to have peace unless you're pursuing it. So, my advice to you is if you want to have some peace in your life, just do it. Work through the rejections, work through, the it's hard to stare at the screen, and when you have little kids and you sit down just when you think you have 5 minutes to sit down and type out 20 words on a scene that, Mom, someone, Bobby's hitting on me. Mom, he's looking at me. You have all of the stuff, and they like to eat and they like to play and they, you
No.
have to do all this. And so, it can be very frustrating. And you just have to sit back and say, okay, God's called me to do this.
Hmm.
Please expand my time. Give me peace in my heart. Give me joy to be with my children when I feel like I want to write, these kind of things. And these are all things that I went through. I've been there. I get it.
Hmm.
I can speak from a place of some regret and also a place of knowing that I did things right too. You know what I mean? And so,
Kind of done everything right, but you did some things right.
yes, yeah, I think yeah. And so, yeah, just pursue it. Don't don't let the enemy speak into you. You let the people who speak the truth of God's word into you. And
Mhm.
listen to those voices, not the negativity that would want you to quit.
Mhm.
Because if the enemy is working that hard to get you to quit, then man, you better keep going.
Oh yeah, it's got to be good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
it's going to be
Big
good.
things are going to happen.
Yep. Yes, indeed. And that is why we work through all the little challenges that pop up in
Absolutely.
little things.
Absolutely.
So, well, and thank you. I agree. I think that is some excellent. I love the idea of, yeah, you're not going to have a lot of peace unless you do that. So, and Lynette, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, contact you, get some of your books, read this series, other series, and that, what is the best way for them to connect with you?
Let my website, probably LynetteEason.com. If you want to buy books, though, Amazon's a great place. Barnes and Noble's a great place. But I will tell you, Baker Book House, they are a phenomenal bookstore and they are so supportive of authors
Mhm.
and readers. And when I know that when I have a book coming out, they offer 40% off. You get almost half off the cover price to get a physical book, and you get free shipping.
Oh,
And so, yeah.
yeah.
And, I really encourage people to buy from Baker Book House just because it's a great deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
And yeah. And so, I know a lot of people like their Kindle reader and stuff, but
Mhm.
if you like the physical book in your hand,
I
they do
like the physical
offer.
books. See, I have physical
Yeah,
books
I
here in
don't
my
even have that yet. Oh my word!
well,
I
yeah,
should be getting my copy
this
soon.
one has the advanced reader copy, but I
Yeah,
take it
it
to
is.
the gym and I read it on the treadmill. Because
Uh,
I've discovered your books are not very good to read before I go to bed because they don't put me to sleep at all. I mean, I'm
No, they
just
get your
like, I wanna know
adrenaline going, right?
I wanna know what's gonna happen. I wanna know what's gonna happen. I can't go to sleep, with that. So, well, we will encourage people to go to your website. We'll put that in the show notes, and also take advantage of the deals with Baker Bookhouse or wherever they want to, but just to go ahead and encourage it. And Lynette, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, and thank you for pursuing that gift, the gift that God has given you to create some really, really good stories.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I would encourage people, if you go to my website, sign up for my newsletter.
Okay.
When you sign up for my newsletter, you get a free read. It's a short story by me. It's not connected to any of my series or anything. It's just a short story that I wrote to give away to people that sign up for my newsletter. But each month you get a free read from one of my author buddies.
Uh-huh.
So,
Oh,
uh,
okay. Very good. That sounds like a great idea. So we'll encourage people to sign up for your newsletter. With
thank
that,
you.
well, thank you again. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for everything you do and for taking the time to speak with us today, Lynette.
Thank you.